If you're running Google Ads right now and it feels like you're paying more and more every month just to get the same leads, I promise you, you are not crazy. 2025 is over and 2026 is a whole different ballgame. My name is Zohair, and I've scaled budgets from as low as 5 figures all the way up to 7 figures within many Google Ads accounts. And I'm going to show you my exact 2026 Google Ads strategies so that way you stop wasting money on junk clicks. And I promise you, this isn't going to take like 20 campaigns, and you're not going to need a media buyer level of knowledge to start scaling your own account. Now, before I go into the nitty gritty and all the technical stuff, I want to preface some really important points. Now, it's no secret at all that in 2026, Google Ads wants to stay as automated as possible. All they want you to do is for you to give your money and they take care of everything for you. Well, here's the problem. You're not getting leads that way. Nobody is getting leads that way. So how do we prevent that? Well, we start off by making sure that the fundamentals are in line. Now, what these three fundamentals are is number one, messy conversion tracking. What is conversion tracking? Conversion tracking is simply how Google measures a success from your campaigns. So that means like a web form fill, or if it's a phone call for you, then it's a phone call. Or if you're an e-commerce store, then that means a purchase. Or let's say you're a SaaS, that means that it's a sign up. It can be whatever tracks a means of success for you. Number two is broad or messy targeting. So that means that you're using keywords that are just all over the place, like broad match, or just search terms that completely don't relate to your customer at all. Now, if you're new to Google Ads, I might be saying a lot of mumbo jumbo to you. I'll go more into the technicalities of all these points down into the video. But what this basically means is that you're targeting everybody. In marketing in general, not just Google Ads, if you're targeting everybody, you are targeting nobody. Lastly, one of the biggest factors is a weak landing page. If you have a weak landing page, you can have the best Google Ads strategy in the world, but you're not going to sell a single product or you are not going to get a single lead. So we're going to go more into the video of how you can do that too. Now, first and foremost, before you even touch a campaign, before you even spend a single dollar, you're going to want to make sure your conversion tracking is set up. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go over to your sidebar, go over here and click on goals, then click on summary. Now you're here at the conversion action page. Now, whenever you want to create a new conversion action, first determine, of course, what is the primary action that you want your users to take. Like I said, phone call, sign up, or maybe a web form submit. Once you have that determined, go ahead and click here on create a conversion action. So you're going to get a slew of different things that you can set up whenever you get onto this page. Of course, click the one that most likely correlates to you. 9 times out of 10, those of you who are watching this video are form submit and or phone call people. So I'm going to go for this purpose, or for this example, do the submit lead form. So I already have some on here, but you can go ahead and click on the add conversion actions and choose your Google tag. So if you don't have a Google tag, you should set up your Google Analytics before this video, so that way you can properly see how your Google Ads is doing on your landing pages. We'll go more into that later. But when you have your Google tag, Google can actively send the right data back from Google Analytics to your Google Ads, and that way you're tracking everything properly. So choose the Google tag that you have set up prior. And then the most simple way to do this without doing things as complicated such as Google Tag Manager, which is a not very complicated, but a more advanced version of conversion tracking. You just click this button over here on enter where the URL conversion is completed. So what does that mean? Whenever you go to your landing page, or whenever somebody submits a form, if that form is submitted and it just says thank you as a little piece of text, that means you don't have a redirect. A thank you redirect is whenever somebody submits your form, whether you're doing that through HubSpot forms, Zoho forms, or through any forms through your CMS. You want to make sure that it redirects after they submit their information into a thank you page. So whenever you have that, just type that into here, where it's like my agency, nextcrise.com/thank you, and then you simply just go ahead and type in done, and then you click save and continue, and then you can go in and test this. You can set up enhanced conversions. There's many different things that you can do, but this is the most simplest way that you can set up a thank you page conversion tracking form submit. Now, let's say you want to record phone call conversion actions. The easiest way to do that without going into Google Tag Manager and setting up a random phone call conversion action that would take a lot of time, and it is definitely worth it, so I recommend you look into it. But the easiest way to do it is simply go over here, create a conversion action, see all, and then click over here to phone call lead, and then click on add conversion actions, calls from ads, and then simply go ahead and save and continue. You can edit the settings and everything that you want from here as well, so you can change it to whatever value you want the phone call to be, or how many phone calls you want to count per conversion. But click save and continue. You're going to notice it's not going to tell you to do anything. So what you're going to want to do, so it actually is tracking something, you go over here within your campaigns, click on assets, and then underneath assets, you click on the blue plus sign, create an asset, and then right here where you see call, click on that. Type in your phone number, and now whenever you create your campaigns, that phone number, for example, will show like this. And then they can call that phone number. Google is going to track that as a phone call conversion action, and then everything will be swell for your campaigns. Now let's get into the real meat of Google Ads, and that is actually running the campaigns and getting real leads for your business. So what does that mean? I'm going to show you how to do that in just 1 or 2 campaigns. Ideally, I have some clients that are running on just 1 campaign and they're doing wonderful. So let me show you how to do that. Now let's get into the real meat of Google Ads, and that is actually running the campaigns and getting real leads for your business. So what does that mean? I'm going to show you how to do that in just 1 or 2 campaigns. Ideally, I have some clients that are running on just 1 campaign and they're doing wonderful. So let me show you how to do that. Now to start, you're going to want to click over here on the blue plus button, new campaign. Create a campaign without your guidance, and then click on search. We're going to do a 2 search campaign setup or 1 search campaign setup, because if you are a local service business owner or if you are a lead gen business owner, search is going to be your bread and butter. I can argue that display or maybe even performance max can do you some good, but that's typically where you would go to scale, not where you would go to start, or how you would perform the best whenever you start off. So click over here. Obviously, you're going to see your conversion actions. You can remove these if you just want to have a campaign just for phone calls or just for web form fills, whatever gets you the more high quality lead and money for your business, obviously. Go over here and click on continue. Continue again. Name your campaign. So for this example, like I showed you, we are going to do a cleaning company here in Houston, since I am based off of Houston. So we're going to do cleaning, search, Houston. Name your campaigns well, and I promise you, your mind will be a lot cleaner going into this. So click on continue, start new. You don't need to worry about that. And then this is where we'll go into the nitty gritty about bidding strategies, setting up the campaigns with keywords, and the ads themselves. Now, whenever you start, you're going to get these options to do bidding strategies on conversions, conversion value, clicks, or impression share. Now, I'll tell you from the start, if you don't have conversions within your account, meaning more than 20-30 conversions per month, you're going to start with maximize clicks. The reason being is that you're maximizing the amount of clicks that you're going to get from this campaign, so that you can see these search terms and you can really narrow those down and sift them down to tell Google who your ideal customer is. And then later down the line, we can change this bidding action. But for now, focus on maximize clicks, and I promise you it'll do you justice in the future. Now, don't worry about things like bid for new customers only. Go ahead and click on your campaign settings. You're going to want to make sure that this button is clicked. Presence, people in or regularly in your included locations. Why don't we want any of this? Is because when you're in presence or interest, you're essentially telling Google, hey, this guy's thinking about moving to the zip code that you're targeting, or thinking about moving to the city that you're targeting. How about you target them? Now ask yourself, is that someone that you want to target? Obviously not. You're not going to want to target, let's say you're an HVAC company doing emergency HVAC or furnace repairs, and you're going to want to target the guy who's all the way 50 miles away from you, thinking about moving to your zip code. So obviously you're going to want to make sure that you're in presence. Next, you're going to want to make sure that if you have specific zip codes or specific locations down to the mile radius, you're going to want to click over here, click on advanced search, and then you can go as far as including things like your zip code. 77493, for example, is a zip code here in the Houston, Katy, Texas area. And you can go as far as radius. So 77493, for example, You can include that within a 5-mile radius or something like that. I've done this before for numerous clients and it has done pretty well. So you can use that however you see like, but make sure that you have this button clicked so you don't waste money on people that aren't even in your location. Next, you're going to want to make sure that these two buttons are off, and this is this button, the Google Search Partner Network, and the Google Display Network. Both of these networks are complete and utter trash. They're going to give you spam leads at most, and at the very least, they're going to waste your budget, because what these networks are is essentially Google having different partners that they work with, and they're giving you a cheap placement by you clicking these buttons. So meaning that your the search partners is going to show within different various websites, and the display network is going to be those image ads that you see on like scammy websites that have like weird news or just weird niches and things like that. So you're going to want to make sure those are off so you're not wasting your budget. So what you're going to want to do next is completely ignore this AI max section and keyword and asset generation section. Now the reason why I say that is because, simply put, those are just AI ways of Google getting you to generate ads. It really isn't that helpful. I recommend you get into the minds of your customer, which you most likely know, and create those ads for yourself. But we'll get into that later in the video. What you're going to want to do here is type in your URL. So for example, ours is a cleaning company called Houston Shine Site, and we have our nice pretty little landing page right here. I'm going to go take that URL or the fake one and put it right here. So landing page, there you go. And now what Google's going to usually do is give you some keyword suggestions, but I want you to be very, very specific and very intentional with your keywords. And how do you do that? Quick thing before we keep going, if you want my help applying this exact 2026 Google Ads setup, just click the link in the description. It's just a quick way to reach out to me, and that's pretty much it. Now back to the video. Now, to really get into the right keywords for your campaign, I've set up an example here. Our example is for Houston Shine Site, which is our mock company, and they want to run a campaign for specifically month-to-month cleaning services, right? Now, the way that you may be thinking for your services might be also similar as to what these high-intent, high-competition keywords look like. You want to bid for exactly what the customer is thinking, which is local cleaning companies near me, cleaning companies in location, monthly cleaning companies. Now, while you are not wrong in bidding in those keywords, the problem with that is that they're very expensive and they're very high cost per click. What that means is that you have other companies that are far, far, far bigger than you, have higher budget than you, and can absolutely outbid you. Outbid you meaning they have a lot more money and they can spend a lot on keywords to get higher paying customers, and they get that lower cost per lead. You won't. So how do you prevent that? The way that you're going to want to go about doing this is think about the process of your customer. In the beginning, they're likely going to click on things like this, but you want to be here for whenever they've done their research and they want to find something specific to their problem. Like, for example, they search up local cleaning companies near me. They didn't really find what they want, so now you are here in Deep House Cleaning Service in their specific zip code. You put that as a keyword, or you put that as a location identifier within your ads, and voila, that's showing up within your ads, and you are getting a higher intent customer for a lower cost per click. You can also go even more deeper and do things like intensive house cleaning service, same week deep house cleaning services, kitchen and bathroom cleaning services per month, or carpet and upholstery cleaning monthly in location, for example. You can really come up with multiple different ideas if you come into the eyes of, or the thought process of your customer. That's something that you really have to consider, and when you do that, you're going to get high intent, low competition, low cost per click keywords like this. And you can break into different ad groups. Like, for example, I'll show you a live example over here. That's where we want to do one-time cleaning services, and we can break it into its own ad group because it's not like an entirely different service, like we're doing vacuuming versus just whole cleaning. So for example, this can be deep cleaning stains services in Houston, because I'm in the Katy area, so you could do like Houston, or I don't know, wherever you're located. You can do the zip code, You can do whatever you want. You think a little bit deeper as to what is a one-time cleaning service, cleaning fluids from or carpet stain cleaning services, or deep wood floor stain cleaning services. Things like that, if you really think about exactly what your customer wants. These are like long tail keywords. You can reduce them however you feel like is necessary. But if you get into the mind of your customer, into the exact service, into the exact intent, I promise you, you're going to get these low cost, high intent customers, and you'll get those really high quality leads. Before you take these keywords and start spending your budget on them and wondering why you're not getting leads, I want you to focus on match types for your keywords. Now, how a keyword works is essentially you have a keyword and you have a search term. A search term is exactly what someone typed up to show up your ad. A keyword is what's going to trigger that search term, and the match type is going to show the variation of how close that search term is to your keyword. Now, the match types you have are broad match, phrase match, and exact match. And I have some examples over here. Broad match is about as broad as it can get. It is literally within the word. You have your original keyword right here. It has no brackets. It has no parentheses, nothing. It is just a keyword. And it's going to most likely match for search terms like this, like how much is a house cleaner, and even more crazy stuff. So you want to stay away from this match type unless you're really trying to scale or you have the time to really sift through your search terms that come from that broad match keyword. The second one is phrase match, and this is really going as close as possible to matching the different phrases the words within your keyword would show up for. Like, for example, here is deep house cleaning and Katie. It can show up for deep apartment. It's very possible that it can do that. Is that something you want? No, but this is where you would go and put negative keywords, which we'll speak more on later in the video. The most accurate one that I recommend you use is exact match. This has these little brackets over here, and these little brackets essentially tell Google be as close as possible to the phrase and the exact wordings used within the keyword. Now, it can show up for different variations, like deep house cleaning near me or thorough house cleaning, but it will more than likely stay very close to the original keyword. Google is getting a little bit more lax with the broad match, or excuse me, the match type keywords within Google because they're shifting more towards AI. But I highly recommend, for the purposes of this example or the purposes of these campaigns, that you start with phrase and exact match keywords. Now, the goal is to stay as specific and as honed in within your advertising as possible. So for that reason, I've chosen just about 5 keywords, 2 phrase match and 3 exact match. I recommend you stay within that 3 to 10 range as well, so that way you aren't seeing hundreds and thousands of search terms that aren't relevant to your business. You're going to want to test phrase match and exact match. You can do that within different ad groups. I recommend doing them within the same ad group, and then if you have broad match, separate that into its own ad group, and then you can scale with that. So whenever you have your keywords here, you can go ahead and scroll down and we can start on the ads. Now, with your ads, you want to be as direct as possible. Don't be super incredibly creative. Just make sure that you are getting your point across. Google Ads is very intent-based. It is not like Meta. It is not like Pinterest or Reddit or anything like that. The customer already knows what they want. They just want to make sure that you know what they want. So for your ads, for your headlines, I just made it very, very simple. You want to make sure that you have your value propositions that you have, like, for example, for this cleaning company, Houston Shine Site, same week appointments, you're locally serving, exactly what it is that you do, deep house cleaning, Katie. Like, for example, I'm exactly pulling from the keywords that I've selected as well. So you can include other value propositions or targeting the pain points as you do in regular advertising. Get a fast deep clean, get a free quote, things of that nature that really, really entice the customer to click. You don't have to be extremely creative. You have to be direct and you have to be to the point. Same thing here with the descriptions, and same thing here with the images. You can choose to include images. I typically don't, as because the search ad does its job most of the time. But that's typically how you would go about doing your headlines and descriptions. Direct, to the point, focusing on value for the customer. The next thing we have is site links. Site links are actually pretty self-explanatory. You just want to make sure that they are as relevant to the original campaign or to your business as possible. So for example, the campaign that we're running is a search campaign local to Katie, and it is for month-to-month deep cleaning services. So what would be relevant is, for example, a site link for a booking page. This booking page is relevant because we do want people to book for our services, and we don't want people to go click elsewhere. What would not be relevant is, for example, like a blog page, maybe even your privacy policy. I've seen people do that, or anything that does not relate to getting your customer to convert. So make sure you put at least 1 to 4 of these site links, but just make sure that they're relevant. The next thing that you're going to see is callouts. Callouts are basically these little blurbs of text that come in the bottom of your ad. You're going to see it over here, like deep cleaning for kitchens, bathrooms, floors, request a fast quote. And what you're really going to want to include there are just little things that speak out about your business, little differentiators, or just benefits that a customer could have with working for you. It's kind of like site links, except obviously there's no link to click, but it's a blurb that you would really want your customer to see. So as you can see over here for my agency, when I run ads before, there are things like Houston's best PPC agency, no contracts, qualified leads, things of that nature that really ping the ideal customer in my region to work with me, and you should do the same for whatever niche that you're working in. So over here you have more asset types. Promotions are any promotions that your business is running. You can just put, like for example, for our cleaning company, it would be get a free room clean. You can add any of that there. Like for me, for my agency, it's like 100% off Google Ads audits, which I could just put free. Prices, if you have set pricing that's not unique for your customer, you can put that in there, but I wouldn't put that in there personally for a search ad. Structured snippets are like callouts, and if you're using callouts, I don't think you need structured snippets, but if you want to, you can go ahead and do that. I would avoid lead forms because you have your landing page, and hopefully it is well optimized with things like reviews, pictures of previous work, and other things like testimonials. So I would avoid that because lead forms they're just not ideal for getting the highest conversion rate. Of course, if you're running this for your app, you can do apps as well, but that's a video for another time. And then you have your final URL options, and you can put a tracking template on here, so that way, let's say if you're using a CRM, you're going to have in the UTM or the PURL you see over here, specific snippets of text, like for our purposes, Houston Shine Site, search, and then cleaning campaign, something like that. So that really tells the CRMs that you're using, or you, for example, that this lead came exactly from this ad and this ad group alone. So now after all is said and done, your bidding is set up, your keywords, your ads, headlines, and whatever, you're going to get the question of what your average daily budget should be. I highly recommend you set up average daily budget and not your campaign total budget, because that way your spending will be equal throughout every single day rather than it spending more on the beginning half or in the latter half of your campaign's runtime. So how do you determine what is a good budget for you? Now, the way that you're going to get this is actually quite simple. So you're going to take the keywords that we determined a couple minutes ago and you're going to copy them. You're going to want to go over here onto your Google Ads dashboard, go ahead and click on the tools, then click on planning, and then click on keyword planner. You're going to get an option to discover new keywords or get reports. Click on reports and paste them right over here. So I've already done this beforehand. You can see my keywords are Houston deep cleaners, monthly cleaning services, Katie cleaning service, and house cleaning services. So you're going to click on get started. Whenever you click over here, you're going to get a variety of different KPIs and metrics. So you're going to see your average monthly searches. You can see over here that for house cleaning services in Houston, our top of page bid, so the highest page bid on the lower range is $4, and then the top of page bid on the higher range is $14. So you're going to want to determine the average cost per click that's going to come in between there. So let's say, for example, in this, it would be, say, $5 to $8 for monthly cleaning services. The top of page bid on the low range is around $3, and then the high page bid is around $11.5. So what we're going to want to do to really determine the math about what the average budget would really make sense for these keywords is actually quite simple. Now we're going to want to work a little bit backwards here. Let's say off the top of your head you want 5 leads per day. Let's assume that the conversion rate based on your average conversion rate across your website, let's say you're doing ads through Meta or organic search, the average conversion rate is 5%. The CPC that you found out through Google Keyword Planner is $5 to $8, or exactly 5 or exactly 8 for this example. We know for a fact, because we have a 5% conversion rate, to get 5 leads per day, we need to have at least 100 clicks per day. So now with that math, we can determine that if the $5 cost per click is set, we want to have at least 100 clicks per day at $5 each. That's $500 per day. And at $8, it's the same thing. It's 100 clicks per day times the CPC. That's at $800 per day. Now you can go more further into this math and determine that if you're at $800 per day, getting 5 leads, your average conversion rate for every web form or phone call that you get is, say, 25%, because around 25% of those leads that you get actually close. Determine what the actual job cash in is for your niche, and then see whether that is profitable for you. These are just example numbers. You can do this with whatever real world scenario that you have in hand, but really determine the average daily budget based on the conversion rate past the web form fill or the phone call into actual cash in. That's exactly why we're running Google Ads, is to get cash for your business. So get those numbers and determine what's good for you and what's profitable for your business. After you start running your campaign, you're going to wonder to yourself, how exactly do I optimize my campaign, continue my conversions, and continue getting more leads for my business? So the first thing I want you to do is, you're running your campaign, let it run for about, say, 1 to 5 days, or maybe even a week. But while that week is happening, you're going to want to do your first set of optimizations, which is putting in negative keywords. Now, how do you do that? First, you're going to go over to the tab on your Google Ads overview, and then click on Insights and Reports, and then Search Terms. Over here, you're going to get a search term report. Like I said earlier, it is exactly what people are searching up within your campaigns. So the keyword is what you want to show up for, and the search term is going to be the exact keywords or the exact searches that your ideal customers are usually searching up. So I'm going to show you how to clean this up real quick. Simply what you're going to want to do is go over here, and you're going to see a ton of search terms, right? And you're going to want to review them with obvious logic as to who your ideal customer is and which one of these search terms are relevant to your landing page, your services, and your business, and what is not. Simply just go through here, and like, for example, we are a cleaning company for this example, and we have right here, for example, we don't want to do interior car detailing near me, right? So whenever we have that, we just go over here and click on this, and then you add it as a negative keyword. We would do the same for other different variations of search terms. Like, for example, over here, you see that we have Quick Houston Home Cleaning LLC. That is a competitor branded search term, and that's something we obviously don't want, so we're going to click on that as well. And then the other ones are definitely variable to what you would want. Like, for example, if we're doing month-to-month home cleaning services, I know for this purposes, for this example, I'm not going to want urgent vomit home cleaning services, because that is an urgent one-time service. The purpose of this campaign is to do it for month to month. So we're going to click on that as well. And then you can see throughout this example, like, you can just keep going, click on the rest of the 500, 400, 200 or so search terms that show up, and then you add them as negative keywords either to your campaign. If it's campaign specific, you can even add negative keywords to your entire account, and I'll have a list in a little bit as to what exactly those account-wide keywords should look like. Those should be things like, for example, right here, free home cleaning services. You don't want to sell your services for free. We're not a nonprofit, of course. So those are one of those account blanket type keywords. So go through your search term list, see what's relevant, see what isn't, add them along your account, campaign, ad group, anything that you want that is relevant to your campaign strategy. For this purposes, I'm going to add free home cleaning services to my account-wide blanket. I don't want to add home cleaning services, just the word free. You can do that as well if there's anything specific. Like, for example, if we're home cleaning, I'm probably going to want to put auto cleaning as my account-wide negative blanket. But for something that I would want for the campaign in specific, that would just be like urgent vomit or urgent spills home cleaning. That would be for my campaign or ad group, depending on how I want to go about that. So do that for yourself and do this on a daily basis until you start seeing a very, very clean search term reports. And what we're going to do next is determine what keywords are triggering those search terms and how to kill them. So what you're going to want to do to determine whether or not which keyword is worth your time and the money of your business is first, of course, go to your keyword list, go on the left tab, click on audience, keywords, content, and you'll see keywords. Once you're on there, you're going to see data like this on your columns. You're going to see conversions, cost per conversions. You don't have to care about final URL, but impressions, click-through rate, quality score, and all that. Now, which one of these KPIs are important in determining whether or not you should turn off a keyword or keep it going? Obviously, right off the bat, that would be your conversions. Now, I want you to really think about the type of conversions. You could be getting, for example, this keyword is giving me 2.67 conversions in a matter of a week or something like that. Sometimes Google calculates conversions differently. That's why you see that 0.67 over there. Now, let's say out of those 2 or 3 conversions that I got that were attributed to this keyword, only like one of them was actually qualified. And let's say this is consistent over a month. I would kill that keyword. It's giving me bogus leads. Now, that also takes into consideration whether or not you're doing your search term cleanup. So make sure that you're doing that diligently. Now, let's say, for example, I am doing my search term cleanup and this has got me 3 conversions, but they're high quality conversions. I would keep that. Now, for example, another thing that will really determine your performance, not so much nowadays, but what it will use to and is still a indicator of performance, is your quality score. The way a quality score is debated, but honestly, I boil it down to just about 3 things. That is your click-through rate, that is your landing page experience, and the ad relevance. So your keyword should be very congruent with your ads. So literally, for most of your ads, like I mentioned, keep them direct and straight to the point. Sometimes you can even put the keyword in the ad themselves. Actually, not even sometimes, you should do that all the time. Your landing page should directly include the keywords that you are putting within your ads and the keywords that you're obviously targeting for. And then lastly, your landing page experience needs to be very solid as well. That means that you can't run your ads to a very crappy landing page with no relevant data for your customer or relevant stuff for your ideal customer. It can't just be an HTML document or just a picture of you and your buddies working together. It has to be something that is very, very relevant, helpful for the customer. That way your time on site increases, meaning the amount of time people spend on your landing page. Your bounce rate decreases, meaning how many people go on your website and immediately leave. And on top of that, you get more web form fills and everybody is happy. So you're going to want to make sure all those things are congruent with one another to increase your quality score. Now, nowadays, sometimes I see quality scores ranging within the 5 to 6 range, like you see over here. So I would keep these going just as long as they're getting me conversions and they're not wasting any budget. So I would just really, really make sure that those are within the 5 to the 10 range. If they're anything below that, something is wrong with your ad, landing page, or the landing page experience. Say after looking at the backend data and the quality of these conversions, and as well as this data right here, the cost per conversion, the click-through rate, the cost, quality score, and all that, I determined that this keyword right over here is the keyword that I want to remove. Why is that? It is triple the cost per conversion at a $49 cost per conversion. And on top of that, let's say that the conversion that I got was actually just a spam caller. And this is the case of over, say, 1 to 2 weeks. And that gives me the conclusion that this isn't a keyword that I should run. Now, this is with the knowledge that I've been doing search term cleanups and stuff like that. So the search terms or the keyword that this is running isn't necessarily relevant to my ideal customer, or it just isn't the perfect sell for my customer. So I would go ahead and pause this keyword, and based on your situation, you can pause multiple keywords. For my purposes, I'm just pausing 1 or 2, and I say that because I don't have that many keywords to begin with, and the rest of these, or these 3 right here, are doing pretty decent for me. It hasn't had enough time to spend on all of these, so let's say if this continues to not spend over time, I can either increase my budget or decrease these keywords, break them out into different ad groups, so on and so forth. There's many different strategies, but for this, because there are about, say, 9 keywords in here, what I would do is pause this one and maybe take the rest of these out, put them in a different campaign or ad group, so that way I'm focusing on my winners and killing the losers. Now let's say that you've been doing your ads for a while now. You did your search term cleanup, you did your keyword cleanup, you made sure that you're honing in on your winners and not your losers, and you're getting consistent qualified conversions, but you want to scale, or you're seeing some changes in your performance and you're wondering, well, I'm doing everything right. Why are my ads not getting me the right conversions or getting me higher conversions at scale? Now, I'm going to show you 4 different metrics that you can use to determine how you're doing within the auction amongst your competitors. An auction is basically you are running ads for these keywords, so are many other competitors within your locality or within your region, and these metrics are going to show you how you're competing against them, in what percentages, and if you're losing any conversions or losing any impression share based on budget or based on your ads. This is really going to show you that, and I'm going to show you how you can use it, improve it, and how to grow from it. Now, to get to these metrics and to have them show within your campaigns, first click on the column section within your Google Ads account dashboard on the campaign section. Click on columns, then modify columns, and then you'll see this right here. Once you're over here, click on competitive metrics, click on search impression share, and then all the other boxes you see over here. And then it's going to show within your campaign, and we're going to go back to that, and I'll show you exactly what they mean. Now, whenever you have these columns set up, you're going to see a variety of percentages like 16, 15, 20. I'm going to show you exactly what they mean, starting off with search impression share. Search impression share is essentially you have these keywords that you're targeting, the search terms that you're showing up for. There is an entire auction around those keywords, and the total amount of auction is the search impression share, the total amount that you can completely show up for. In this example, right now, the total addressable market within those keywords or the search impression share is around 15 to 16%, or 10% is what I'm actually showing up for among these different campaigns. This is a different example, but I'm trying to show you the data and what it really means. So when you have a percentage of search impression share that's this low, it's not very good. You're going to want to make sure that your search impression share is above that 30, 40, 50% range, getting as close to that 100% range as possible. Now, whichever search impression range you fall into, I don't want you to get carried away with it, because if you're aiming for 80%, but once you're near 80% search impression share, so you're getting total 80% of searches, but you're not getting qualified leads, that doesn't mean anything to you as a business owner. You just want to make sure that you're getting those qualified leads within the search impression share that matters for you. Now, the next ones have to do with how you really change that search impression share based on your budget and your ad rank. Now, those 3 or 4 metrics are search lost impression share by ad rank, search lost impression share by budget, and then search lost top impression share by budget and rank. Now, these 2 are explained by how much impression share that you are losing through your ad rank. So what that means with your ad rank is your keywords to your ads, whether they're relevant, your ads to your landing page, whether they're relevant, and how they all work as one little system. So this one is showing me that the search impression share that I'm losing by my ad rank is about 62% for this campaign, 78% for another one, 74% for another one. And what this all is really telling me is that I need to work on my ads a little bit more. They're not congruent to what my customers are searching up for, and because of that, I'm losing a lot of impression share because my ads are poor. The next one is search loss impression share by budget. This is really self-explanatory. It's how much impression share you're losing based on your budget. Now, you remember in the beginning of this video or a couple clips ago, I went over how Google Keyword Planner can determine what your average budget should be daily. That's why we did this. So we prevent showing up less because our budget is too low. So for example, over here, my budgets are fine. I'm only losing an impression share of around 21 to 7 or 17%. So that means my daily budget is fine. I'm not losing much of that. These 2 over here, lost top impression share, is how much of the impression share I'm losing based on budget and ad rank, but it's the top. So the first 3 ads that you usually see. Now in Google Ads, you can show up in the top, sometimes you can show up in the middle, and they have different varieties of placements, but the top are the first 2 or 3 ads that you see. And you can see over here by budget, it's the same thing. I'm not losing that much. I know my budget is good, but my ad rank is losing 80 to 75+% of impression share because my ads are simply just not congruent. Now, this can do, like I said, with keywords, with ads, the landing page. Just make sure they're all congruent, make sure your click-through rates are high, and make sure that your time on site for your landing page or the landing page experience is also done very well. So there you have it, guys. That's the 2026 full Google Ads course. It covers everything from conversion tracking all the way up to the weekly optimizations that you need to do to make sure you're getting high quality leads. We have two options. Option one is you take this setup, implement it yourself, and give it around 2 to 4 weeks to really start working. Or option two is you click the link in the description, get some free resources, and if you want to, reach out to my team so that way we can help you to apply this in your business and stop wasting ad spend. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Zohair. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.